Are you nervous to initiate a green card case through consular processing for your spouse or loved one because they need a waiver and you're afraid you'll be separated from them? If yes, keep watching this video. Hi, I'm Cecily, founder of Root Migration, and I help undocumented people achieve lawful status in the United States through consular processing without fear or confusion. In today's video, I'm going to give an overview of the process to immigrate a loved one, a spouse, a family member through what's called consular processing. If your family member is in the United States unlawfully and requires a waiver, I'll be discussing that as well. So please stay tuned. If you want an in-depth guide of the step-by-step to consular processing, I have a free PDF you can download. Find the link in the description below. Before we move on, I want to make something clear. This video is general legal advice and is not specific to your circumstances or your particular case. Watching this video does not create an attorney-client relationship between the two of us, and I am not your attorney just because you watched this video. Also, I am not responsible for any actions you might have taken in reliance on the content in this video. Immigration law is extremely complex. Today, I'll be talking in very general terms and giving you general advice, but I really encourage every single person who wants to engage in this process to consult with a competent attorney experienced in immigration law so that you can make sure that your specific situation fits the law and you're not going to have any issues. If you want to schedule a consultation with me, a link to do that will be in the description below. The first step in a consular processing case is you file the I-130 petition with the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services, also known as USCIS. There are lots of different agencies involved in immigration. USCIS is one of them. I'm going to be recording a future video on all the different types of agencies involved in immigration. So if you're interested in understanding the different agencies involved, who they are and what it all means, be sure to hit subscribe. And that way you'll get notified of future videos. So you file the I-130 petition with USCIS in the first step. The I-130 petition is just to establish the relationship exists. And that's whether it's between spouses or parent to child to parent, siblings. The only thing immigration cares about at this step is the relationship genuine and real, or are you committing fraud? After the I-130 is approved, the case goes to the National Visa Center. The National Visa Center is a part of the Department of State. Again, that's a different agency than USCIS, so please be sure to hit that subscribe button so you can catch my future videos on all these different agencies involved so you can understand it more. But basically, the National Visa Center, or NVC as it's known, is an office that collects documents and fees and prepares the file to be sent to the consulates for the immigrant visa interview. I know filing an I-130 can be really intimidating and feels kind of scary. Do you have questions about this? Anything that you really want me to talk about in these videos? Be sure to comment below this video and let me know what your questions are or what kind of future videos you'd like to see me create. For those applicants that have 1 year or more of unlawful presence in the United States, the next step in the case is to file the I-601A Provisional waiver of unlawful presence. There's lots of different types of waivers that can come up in a consular processing case. The one I'm talking about right now is only for unlawful presence. I'm going to do future videos on other types of waivers. So again, be sure to hit subscribe so that you can get those future videos and you can understand all the different types of waivers involved in these cases. But if the only problem you have in your case, if the only reason you need a waiver is because you've been unlawfully present in the United States, or people say illegally present in the United States, then you can file this I-601A. And so when you're filing an I-601A, what you need to show is that you're qualifying relative. And so that's the person who is related to you, and that could be your spouse, your mom, or your dad, or your parent, or your spouse, that has lawful status in the United States. They're citizens or they're green card holders. You have to show that they will suffer extreme hardship if you are forced to leave the country. And so the penalty for 1 year or more of unlawful presence in the United States is 10 years. So ostensibly, if you don't have a waiver approved, then you have to go live in your home country for 10 years, and then you'll be able to come back to the United States. So the point of the I-601A is to waive that 10-year requirement. So you can just go to the consulate, a 10-year immigrant visa interview, and come right back to the United States. But in order to get the waiver approved, you have to prove that your what we call qualifying relative, and that's, again, your spouse who's a citizen, or maybe your mom or your dad, who's a citizen or lawful permanent resident, will suffer extreme hardship. And extreme hardship is more than just whatever you would normally associate with a separation. So it can't just be, I love the person, I'll be sad, I'll suffer some economic harm. You want something that's more than just your garden variety. I know that sounds callous. I don't mean to be callous, but something a little bit more than what you would automatically think would happen to somebody who was separated from a loved one. And so, it can be a bit of a process to dig that up and think through a strategy. I'm going to have a future video on that in more detail, but it's definitely something that you need to consider if you're filing an I-601A. The next step in the process is actually attending the immigrant visa interview in your home country. So you will be noticed of the time and date of your interview from the National Visa Center. And when you travel to the immigrant visa interview, there's a few steps that you need to go through before you attend the actual interview. You have to do a medical exam. For certain consulates, you have to get fingerprinting done outside. Other consulates will do the fingerprinting inside. You have to get some documents together. There's just some steps that you have to go through prior to the immigrant visa interview. And the best way to really know exactly what you need for your immigrant visa interview is to go to the Department of State website and look at the consulate specific requirements. They have a PDF for each consulate around the world, and it goes in depth into exactly what you need to do prior to your immigrant visa interview and what documents you need to bring with you. It's a really, really useful resource. Okay, the final step in the process is coming back to the United States with your brand new visa. So you travel to the United States, and that could be the physical border, or it could be any airport, that you land in if you fly to the United States. And you're going to present yourself for what we call in immigration law as inspection and admission. And so that's really just the process of handing your passport over to the Border Patrol officer. And they check your visa out, they look at you, they look at your passport, they kind of, double check your identity, and they stamp your passport and let you into the country. Now, the first time you're coming in with your immigrant visa, you will be put into secondary inspection. It's nothing to be afraid of, and it's totally normal. But again, I'll have future videos that go in depth into all these different steps. But the point is, once you've presented your visa and you have the stamp on your passport, you are lawfully admitted as a permanent resident in the United States. The process is over, and your green card will come in the mail. So that's really the end of the whole process. I hope you enjoyed this video. This was a really, really high level, non-detailed sort of bird's eye view of the entire process to doing consular processing with a provisional waiver, with an I-601A waiver. If you're interested in more in-depth or more detailed description, I have a free PDF guide that you can download. There's a link in the description below, and that will go into a little bit more detail and lay out the different steps of this type of case. So please be sure to check that out if you're interested in understanding more. Also, if you're interested in scheduling a consultation with me, there'll be a link to do that in the show notes below as well. Thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and get all the future videos I'll be creating. And please do comment in the comments below and let me know if there's some particular questions you have or any future video that you'd like me to create. Thanks so much, and I'll see you in the next video.